Thank you for coming here today. We will be educating this lovely potato on Advil Liqui Gels. This is a very robust potato. This is one of my favorite potatoes. I found her here today. It is believed that her name is Patty. Or perhaps Patsy, I'm not really sure, but in any event, this lovely gal is going to know everything about Advil Liqui Gels, as will you. So this is a very special day. So first of all, I want to recognize the fact that the price of a potato is out of control these days. Sinead O'Connor was right when she wrote about the Irish potato famine in one of her famous songs called Famine. I think it was called. I'm not really sure. In any event, we have, I guess you could say, the result of inflation. I'm holding it right here, a russet potato. And I believe that this potato, skin and all, is very interested in learning about Advil Liqui Gels. Oh, look at that. She's shedding. She's shedding her potato musk all over this paper, making potato waste all over here, dirt as it is. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you folks. Can you ever get a potato completely clean? You literally pull them out of the ground. There's dirt on the potato. There will always be dirt on a potato. I don't care how much you scrub them. I don't care how hard you pray. There's always going to be dirt on here. That's why I don't eat the skins. People think I'm being picky. I'm not. I'm being logical. There's really no way to get the dirt off of the potato skin. You simply have to remove the skin itself. Anyway, Mr. Potato, Mrs. Potato, that's right. I believe her name is Patricia. Advil Liqui Gels. Now, why did I pick this here today? Why do you think I picked this? I'll tell you why. It's time for us as a nation to come together and realize that the liquid gels do not work any quicker. There is no benefit to a liquid gel. This illusion of choice that consumers see at the pharmacy, it's fake. You see many options, therefore your mind is convinced that some are better than others, but it's not true. All you are seeing is 21 different flavors of the same vanilla ice cream. Solubilized ibuprofen capsules, 200 milligram, pain reliever, fever reducer, NSAID. Before I get into the pharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics of this, an NSAID stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It is a COX inhibitor. Ibuprofen itself, we got no beef with, folks. Ibuprofen is actually kind of goated. So it reduces inflammation by blocking these enzymes. And it stops a whole cascade of events. There's lots of different chemicals involved with that. And the end result is inflammation stops. Are you getting all this here? Are you getting all this, Mr. Potato? Sorry, Mrs. Potato. Actually, we don't know their gender. They could be anything. So, are you getting all this, Potato? Now, the NSAIDs are ubiquitous. There's over-the-counter, there's ibuprofen, naproxen, aspirin. Aspirin is an NSAID. I believe that's all there is over-the-counter. Now, before I get into the prescription world, take a look at this. Ibuprofen. If you go to your pharmacy, you will see tablets, liquid gels, and you will see liquid. Ibuprofen comes in liquid. If you go to naproxen, which I believe the brand name is Aleve, over the counter, it's Aleve, you will see tablets. You may see liquid gels, I'm not really sure, but you won't see liquid. Now, why is that? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I tried to look it up because I was like, why is there no naproxen liquid? You know, my company will make it if there is none. And I guess there's some regulatory reason. Now, a lot of you folks, whenever you hear things like that, your mind wants to create a logical reason. Oh, maybe the liquid is not as safe. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there's more abuse potential with the liquid. These are things people just make up. As I'm kind of creating and building my business, I've noticed that there's so much desire in the consumer mind for things to make sense that they will fill in gaps on their own. And companies take advantage of this. Liquid gels. What's your mind thinking about this? Your mind is telling you this exists. There must be a reason. It's gotta be faster, right? Right? It's gotta work faster. That's why it exists. Unfortunately, it's not true. It's not true. The liquid gels do not work faster. Placebo effect may make you think they work faster. Are you listening to me today? You little starch-filled turd. Someone write that down. That was pretty good. I'll come back to that. People develop these preconceived notions based on, I don't know, whatever else. Because they want it to be true. We are so resistant to living in a world where things don't make sense. And the funny thing about that is, as a company, if you want to make money, just make a product that doesn't make sense. Put it in front of people. They'll develop their own theories. They'll develop their own thoughts and they'll fill in the blanks with their own mind. That's what happens with these liquid gels. 200 milligram, that's a good dose. In the prescription world, I think it goes up to 800 milligram. You know what's funny? Liquid gels don't really exist in the prescription world. They kind of do, but they don't call it a liquid gel. The only thing I can think of is levothyroxine has a gel cap. Benzonatate is a pearl. I don't know. I don't know who thinks of these names. A pearl. It might as well be a liquid gel for all we know. And I think there's like progesterone is kind of like a little liquid circular thing, spherical thing. But yeah, we don't have a liquid gel version of everything like the over-the-counter world does. So you see this nice packaging, liquid gels, you think this has got to work quicker. Notice, very important here. Actually, let's show Patsy. Take a look at that, Patsy. Does it say fast on there anywhere? Does it say faster acting? Does it say relief quicker than tablet anywhere on there? I'll give you I'll give you a hint. No, it doesn't. We all come to this conclusion on our own. In fact, my very first day of pharmaceutics, our professor sat us down and taught us this exact concept. Medications dissolve in the stomach and they are absorbed in the intestines. They are not absorbed in the stomach, at least to any meaningful extent. Whether you take a gel cap or a tablet, it doesn't matter. It's going to be dissolved before the contents reach the intestines. If you don't believe me, I have videos on my other channel. They probably won't be dropping for another month or so, of me proving this. And what's funny about this is I took a gel cap and a tablet and I put it in water. Just a little dish of water there. And of course the tablet dissolved quicker. And the feedback from my viewers were, wow, water's not stomach acid, this doesn't mean anything. It's not the same. And what was hilarious to me as a trained professional is if I saw somebody dissolving a tablet and a capsule in an acidic solution like hydrochloric acid or whatever to prove to me that one dissolves quicker and to mimic the stomach, I would have known immediately that they have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea. There is a big difference between dissolution and solubility. Everybody has this Hollywood science fiction perception of an acid where it kind of just eats things up. It would eat up a potato, some acids would. Okay, those types of acids are few and far between. I've only come across one or two. I mean, you can search here on YouTube. There's quite a bit of videos anyway. Okay, stomach acid, hydrochloric acid is what that actually is. Hydrochloric acid, that is not, it's not going to dissolve this capsule any better than water would. You know what the actual important part is to this equation? Heat. The warmer the solution is probably going to affect the dissolution of the tablet or capsule more than anything else. Remember, medications are dissolved in the stomach and absorbed in the intestines. The tablets, they have something called a swelling agent in them. Okay, these people who design these tablets, they are some of the smartest in the world. To get a medication absorbed is actually a pretty difficult task. They absorb the water in the stomach and they break open the tablet basically, and it just kind of turns into a little powdery flour tuft of active pharmaceutical ingredient. This liquid gel, I mean, it's already dissolved inside the liquid gel. That's pretty cool. But once the gel capsule kind of degrades or whatever, and the liquid comes out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is all happening in the stomach. Do you get my point here? It doesn't matter what happens prior to getting to the intestine as long as it does happen. Or I guess I should say it doesn't matter how long it takes as long as it does happen before it gets to the intestine, which all of these will. 20 liquid-filled capsules. Now, I think another thing where people get confused, they automatically assume like this Hollywood version of an acid where it kind of eats everything away. But another thing people, they often make mistakes with, after the active pharmaceutical ingredient is released. Okay, so after this gel capsule is broken down to the point where the liquid leaks out, after the tablet, the swelling agent, absorbs the water and breaks open the tablet, after that, then the acidity very much matters. Okay, then the acidity is crucial for the actual solubility of the ibuprofen. Now you may be thinking, oh, this is already solubilized. Isn't that a step in the right direction? It's going to make things happen quicker. First of all, no, it happens in the stomach, not the intestine. It happens in the stomach, then it goes to the intestine. Second of all, even if that were true, just because it's soluble in here, now theoretically it doesn't mean it's soluble in where it's going. Now, I could put this gel cap in, I don't know, probably a basic solution, I would think, sodium hydroxide or whatever, or sodium bicarbonate or whatever, and then it would come out of the gel cap and then it would be insoluble. Maybe. I'm just, I'm thinking of an example here. The point is, just because it's soluble in here doesn't mean it's going to be in whatever physiological medium it gets dumped into. Now, we all know that it's going to be soluble in the stomach. It's going to be soluble in the intestine as well. So that doesn't matter. Where it is, it's soluble. Where it's going, it's also going to be soluble. There are some medications that are soluble in some acidic environments and some non-acidic environments, and vice versa. It's very, very important after this thing gets broken. A lot of people, they want to ask about enzymes. Enzymes are not that important for dissolution. Think of it this way. Dissolution is what happens to the capsule or the tablet. Solubility deals with the individual molecule, the individual ibuprofen molecules. They are then soluble in the physiological medium, in this case the stomach acid. Alright? So it's like each individual molecule then gets dispersed in water. Pretty much. It's almost always interacting with water. And that has to happen for it to be absorbed. It won't be absorbed otherwise. How are you doing down there? How's this little guy doing, do you think? I'm going to quiz him after this. Or I'm going to quiz them after this. Folks, where do I even begin? There's so many words on here. I don't even know. Let's see. My goodness, it's like a Rubik's Cube. Okay. Read and keep carton for complete warnings and information. I want to believe that people want to read this, but they don't. They want to read this. Medication facts. I can't say the D word. Can't say it. Can't say it on TikTok anyway. Their censoring is not the best. Not the best at all. Active ingredient, open parenthesis, in each capsule, close parenthesis. Okay, so this is a chart. That's column 1. Column 2 is purpose. So we got solubilized ibuprofen equal to 200 milligram ibuprofen NSAID asterisk present as the free acid and potassium salt. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication. Present as the free acid and potassium salt. What does that mean? You know, this has a lot to do with what I was just talking about, actually. The free acid. The free acid. So this has to do whether or not the ibuprofen molecule has a proton or not. Okay, so let's back up here a little bit. I never explained what an acid is. I only told you what it wasn't. An acid is not something that eats away, you know, at organic material or whatever. An acid is a proton donor. It is a molecule, or in most cases, a solution of molecules that has a proton or hydrogen atom. They use the two terms interchangeably. And based on the charge and the structure and, you know, things that are just way too complicated to explain, the molecule will donate a proton, meaning it wants to get rid of a hydrogen atom. And if there is a molecule nearby in the same solution that is a basic molecule, it will receive that proton, and thus changing the charge and chemical structure of that molecule, meaning it may or may not be soluble then at that point. Just depends on what we're talking about. So a pH scale, I believe it's from 0 to 14, 14 being most basic, 0 being very acidic. All that is a concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution. The lower the pH, the more hydrogen ions in a solution. So think about hydrochloric acid. What is that? H and Cl. It's hydrogen and chlorine. You put that in water, and it really wants to get rid of that hydrogen. That chlorine atom is basically saying, like, please, someone in this area, take this dang forsaken little, it's like an annoying little brother or something. Get it away from me. I don't want it. That's what this is saying here. Uses. Temporary relieves minor aches and pains due to headache, backache, the common cold, muscular aches, minor pain of arthritis. Temporarily reduces fever, toothache, menstrual cramps. Okay, I kind of read that wrong. It looks like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 are kind of grouped together, and then there's a second group here. Temporary reduces fever. This doesn't really help, I don't think. Headache, kinda. People always ask me about headaches, and I'm sorry. It's really tough to treat. It's not a one size fits all. You know what? If you're not going to pay attention, I'll go teach a strawberry. Okay? Because there are people out here who want to learn and want to sleep. Headache is tough to treat. This may help. I don't know. Treating a headache is just like reaching in it's roulette. You just eventually keep trying until you get one that works. Backache, it's gonna help. It's gonna help some, but you know what? I prefer acetaminophen for backache because backache is typically going to be muscle related, and I typically prefer acetaminophen for muscle related pain. The common cold. Minor aches due to the common cold. I mean, that's the same thing as muscle ache to me. And we got muscular aches there, but not below it. Minor pain of arthritis. Yeah. NSAIDs, all NSAIDs are good for arthritis, really. Toothache. There is some thought in this land that NSAIDs are better for like tooth pain than opioids. Menstrual cramps. Okay, there is a little bit of a bleeding risk. We'll see that here soon. So interesting to see that's on the package labeling. You know, if I were to make a video about how ibuprofen is great for menstrual cramps, I would be crucified. I would be crucified in the comments, yet here it is. This is the FDA approved labeling. Temporary reduces fever. Look, ibuprofen can reduce fever pretty well. I'm indifferent. I don't know if acetaminophen or ibuprofen is better. Some people have opinions on that. I do not. Warnings. Allergy alert. Ibuprofen may cause a severe allergic reaction, especially in people allergic to aspirin. Symptoms may include, remember, aspirin is an NSAID. Hives, shock, rash, facial swelling, asthma, skin reddening, blisters. If an allergic reaction occurs, stop use and seek medical help right away. Folks, you've been warned. Okay? You've been warned. I don't like warnings like this. Okay, anything can cause an allergic reaction. Anybody can be allergic to anything. I mean, that's just a fact of life. Drug facts continued. Stomach bleeding warning. This product contains an NSAID which may cause severe stomach bleeding. The chance is higher if you are age 60 or older, have had stomach ulcers or bleeding problems. Take a blood thinning anticoagulant or steroid med. Take a blood thinning. Okay. Take other meds containing prescription or non-prescription NSAIDs, aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, or others. You know, I want to talk about that for a moment before we move on. We didn't talk about the prescription NSAIDs because there are many. There are many. Meloxicam or Mobic. Okay, that's an NSAID, and you only have to take that once a day. Diclofenac. People know that mostly as the gel, the topical gel. Diclofenac comes as an extended release and delayed release tablet. And I think there's also an immediate release tablet, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. What else we got? Celecoxib. That's a little bit of a different one, though. That one's a selective for a particular COX enzyme inhibitor. What else we got? I think there's one called Etodolac, if I'm not mistaken. Indomethacin. Indomethacin is an NSAID. People often forget about that one. Now, what's the difference between all those prescription NSAIDs and the one I'm holding right here? Not much. Not much, folks. There's not more risk. It actually does not make logical sense that I can walk into a pharmacy and buy ibuprofen and I cannot walk in there and buy meloxicam. That makes no logical sense. Now, here's the thing. If someone wanted to, could they spend all the money to get one of those approved over the counter? It's possible they could. It's possible they could, folks. But who wants that risk, you know? Who wants to go in financially on a gamble like that? Because you would have to approve to the FDA, or appeal to the FDA, you'd have to get approved, you'd have to submit data. It'd be tough. But it could happen. The one exception is Ketorolac. Ketorolac is an NSAID that has a very big bleeding risk. probably could not get that one over the counter. Going back to stomach bleeding warnings. Have had 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day while using this product. General rule of thumb, probably don't need to be drinking. Probably don't need to be drinking while taking meds. Call me crazy, call me old-fashioned. Take more for a long time than directed. For a longer time than directed. Heart attack and stroke warning NSAIDs, except aspirin, increase the risk of heart attack, heart failure, and stroke. These can be fatal. The risk is higher if you use more than directed or for longer than directed. Only a trained professional can determine if the benefits outweigh the risks. However, I can tell you from experience, most people do not heed this warning. Most do not. Do not use if you have ever had an allergic reaction to any other pain reliever / fever reducer. That's a bit all-inclusive. Morphine's a pain reliever. Does that mean I can't? If I'm allergic to morphine, does that mean I cannot have ibuprofen? No, it does not mean that. So this is a little bit too much right before or after heart surgery. Ask a doctor before use if stomach bleeding warning applies to you. You have problems or serious side effects from taking pain relievers or fever reducers. You have a history of stomach problems such as heartburn. You have high blood pressure, heart disease, liver cirrhosis, kidney disease, asthma, or had a stroke. You are taking a diuretic. So this does affect the kidneys, folks. These NSAIDs, they touch the kidneys. They touch them. Where are your kidneys? Where are your kidneys, Patricia? Ask a doctor or pharmacist before use if you are under a doctor's care for any serious condition. What does that even mean? Like, why even put that on here? Taking aspirin for heart attack or stroke because ibuprofen may decrease the benefit of aspirin. You got people fighting over the same enzymes here. Who's going to win? Taking any other med. When using this product, take with food or milk if stomach upset occurs. Believe it or not, food actually does impact the absorption of meds. For the most part, it doesn't matter, but there are some that do. There are some that you have to eat with them or else it will not be absorbed. Crazy. Stop use and ask the doctor if you experience any of the following signs of stomach bleeding. So they're very heavy here on the stomach bleeding. You know, they don't want it to happen. They don't want you to have any stomach bleeding. Feel faint. If you feel faint, you need to stop use and ask the doctor. Vomit blood. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I don't want that. Have bloody or black stools. Have stomach pain that does not get better. You have symptoms of heart problems or stroke, chest pain, trouble breathing, weakness in one part or side of the body. Do you know what that's alluding to there? Fast, right? Face, arms. What's the rest of it? Smile. And then what's the T? I forget. It's alluding to stroke. Slurred speech, leg swelling. Pain gets worse or lasts more than 10 days. Fever gets worse or lasts more than 3 days. Redness or swelling is present in the painful area. Any new symptoms appear. folks, just because you don't need a prescription doesn't mean this doesn't have risks. Okay? Now, for the most part, you're going to be fine. These are dosed appropriately. Most people are not going to have any issues. But you have to understand that this is still a chemical that you're putting in your body. It's still a medication. It still has a mechanism of action, and it still has adverse events and side effects. If pregnant or breastfeeding, ask a health care professional before use. It is especially important not to use ibuprofen at 20 weeks or later in pregnancy, unless definitely directed to do so by a doctor, because it may cause problems in the unborn child or complications during delivery. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're probably better off not taking most medications while preggers. I mean, think about it. It is a very vulnerable time in a child's life. I mean, it's before their life. Your cells are being formed for the first time. I don't want any chemicals involved. If I was a woman and I was pregnant, I wouldn't take nothing. I wouldn't take nothing. Keep out of reach of children. In case of overdose, get medical help or contact Poison Control Center right away. I'm going to start a petition. They need to put the phone number on there. I don't know what the poison control number is off the top of my head, but they need to put it on there. Directions: do not take more than directed. The smallest effective dose should be used. Adults and children 12 years and over take 1 capsule every 4 to 6 hours while symptoms persist. I believe the maximum 3,600 per day. When I'm talking about the prescription world, I believe, or maybe it's 3,200. If pain or fever does not respond to 1 capsule, 2 capsules may be used. Do not exceed 6 capsules in 24 hours unless directed by a doctor. Children under 12 years, ask a doctor. Here's what you want to know. Each capsule contains potassium 20 milligram. So what you have here, folks, is an ibuprofen molecule attached to a potassium molecule, basically. And they're going to separate once they're in an aqueous solution. And because this is a liquid gel capsule, it already is separated. It's already in an aqueous solution. Other information oh, we already read that. What do we got here? Read all warnings and directions before use. Keep carton. Store at 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. That's 68 to 77 Fahrenheit. Avoid excessive heat above 40 Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, the inactive ingredients. Let's see if I can figure out what these are for. Now, everything has a purpose. Oh wait, I just remember this is a gel cap, so I probably won't know what these are. FD&C green number 3, obviously. Gelatin, obviously. Lecithin, soybean, medium chain triglycerides, pharmaceutical ink, polyethylene glycol, potassium hydroxide, purified water, sorbitol, sorbitan solution. All of these have a purpose. And I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but there are things to, at least in the tablet world, that help keep the powder all mixed together. There are things that help. I mentioned earlier swelling agents, things that react with the water to help the tablet break open. There are all sorts of things that you need. You don't just take the active pharmaceutical ingredient and smush it together and call it a day. It's much more difficult than that. Questions or comments, call toll-free 1-800-88-ADVIL. I wonder how much they paid for that. Do not use if seal under bottle cap imprinted with sealed for your protection is broken or missing. Lest we not forget the 1980s Tylenol murderer. For most recent product information, visit www.advil.com. Distributed by GSK, CH Warren, New Jersey, 07059 2022 GSK, or licensor, trademark owned or licensed by GSK. LiquiGels is a trademark or registered trademark of Catalent Pharma Solutions. Made in Argentina? You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. You don't see that too often. Argentina, the big player in the pharma world. You thought I was done with you, didn't you? You thought I was done, but I'm not done. What dissolves faster, a tablet or a capsule? You got it right.